My name is Lulanga Sydney. I'm a tutor for Human Resources Management 4. In Human Resource Management 4, we'll be looking on on the issue of managing people in the workplace. But as we begin this presentation, let's look at the learning outcomes, the competencies that you are expected to attain at the end of this course or end of this presentation. The first one is that you should be able to design strategic human resources management. The second one is that you should be able to evaluate the methods of formulating human resources strategy suitable for the organization. Now, why do people matter? What difference do people make in the organization? One of the aspects that we need to realize that human capital is essential for any organization's long-term performance success. The organizations perform better when they treat their employees better. Human resources are assets. It's an asset to an organization. And since it's an asset to an organization, it can help an organization to succeed. And if people are not treated well, they become a liability and they can cause the company to fail. So we continue with that aspect of trying to understand why should an organization be concerned about its own people. There are a number of issues that the organization also needs to consider. It needs to realize that building high-performance work environments depends on having people with the following qualities: work ethics, ambition and energy, knowledge, creativity, motivation, and sincerity. Okay. It also helps the organization needs to realize that its people need to have a correct attitude, correct perception towards society, towards itself, towards each other, towards themselves, and towards the immediate community. There should be camaraderie or collegiality and collaborativeness amongst them within the organization. Employees should be seized by the zeal of curiosity, wanting to explore, which is the basis for innovation, creativity. Employees should also be gifted with judgment and maturity and the issue of integrity. So what is strategic human resource management? Strategic human resource management is more concerned about ensuring that the immediate and the future human resource issue in the organization is sorted, having the right people in the right place at the right time, now and in the future. And this, it looks at how to attract quality workforce through human resource planning, recruitment and selection process. Also developing a quality workforce through employee induction, orientation, training and development, and also through performance appraisal. Strategic human resource management helps the organization also to maintain a quality workforce. So apart from attracting, creating, it also the issue about maintaining a quality workforce through career development, work-life balance, compensation and benefits, employee retention and turnover, and then labor management relations. It also helps the organization to realize the issue about discrimination in employment. People being denied certain opportunities based on a number of factors. It could be based on race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, whatever it is, which have nothing to do with the performance or to do with the work that the person is expected to carry out. Strategic human resource management also takes cognizance of employment equity. For example, in Australia, where there's an issue of people not being given jobs because they belong to a certain minority group. In Namibia, we have our own minority groups, for example, the San, the Himba. Those also need to be considered when it comes to employment equity. The issue about women, visible minorities, people with physical or mental disability. So we need to take cognizance of that. And then we also take note of the bona fide occupational requirements, justifying the capacity to perform work. So strategic human resource takes note of all those factors. It also brings about the issue about the legality or the legal issues in human resource management, sexual harassment, for example, in the workplace, where someone the behavior of a sexual nature that affects a person's employment situation. Strategic human resource also takes cognizance of other factors, other legal issues, for example, people not being paid the same but doing this, the same work, the issue of bringing part-time workers, contract workers, and then also taking away the privacy of people in the workplace. So why do organizations have to attract quality workforce? Human resource planning analyzes an organization's human resource needs and how to best fill in these gaps. So there are a number of steps that need to be taken into consideration when we are looking at human resource planning. The first step is we need to review the organizational mission, objectives, and strategies, and then review these human resource objectives and strategies themselves. And then the third step is to assess current human resource needs. Step 4 is to focus HR needs. Step 5 is to develop and implement HR plans. And those steps, from this chart, you can see them. They are very clear there, and they have some explanation. If you look at this chart, you realize that the first one, you review organizational mission, objectives, and strategies. We have talked about all of them. Only that in certain areas, for example, step 5 goes into detail. It looks at how you can develop and implement human resource plans to match people and job offerings. It looks at specifics there. So how would an organization attract quality workforce? The foundation of human resource planning is job analysis. Job analysis looks at two components: job description and job specification. It looks at the orderly study of job facts to determine just what is to be done, when, where, how, why, and by whom in existing and future new jobs. Job analysis, we talked about job description and job specifications, and the other area that how an organization can attract quality workforce is by employing people based on merit, ensuring that you have the recruitment and selection processes in place, and these processes are detailed, and they eliminate any kind of questioning or any kind of corruption attributes that could be done or that could be connected to it. Now, the recruitment methods, there are a number of recruitment methods that could be used. One of them is external recruitment, where you get people from the outside. Internal recruitment, you get people from within the organization. Traditional recruitment is where candidates receive information only on most positive organization features. Realistic job previews, candidates receive all the pertinent information about the job that is being advertised. And then you have selection. Selection, you choose from a pool of applicants and there are certain steps that need to be followed when you are doing selection. And those are the steps. For example, there should be a completion of a formal application form, interviewing, testing, physical examination, analysis, decision to hire or reject. So this chart here shows you shows or demonstrates the selection process, the case of a rejected job applicant. Okay, so this is the way you do it. For example, when you start your selection process, you look for example, if you say anybody applying to this job should have the first degree, so anybody who does not have a first degree or anything lower than a first degree at level 8, for example, is eliminated immediately. Then you go on like that. So you see, and you need to provide reasons for the rejection of the applicant. Now the first step there, you get the application forms, you look at a number of items that should be included in the application form, for example, the resume, the CV, the appropriate copies, the copies of the appropriate credentials or qualifications, the person's history and all kinds of stuff. And then you go to step 2, you do interviews, and then you go to step 3, you do employment tests. And employment tests, you look at a number of areas. You look at the intelligence, the aptitude, the personality, the interests. Can this person fit into the organization? And then you also look at issues, for example, reliability and validity. In reliability, you look whether the selection process is consistent in measurement. Validity, the demonstrable relationship between a person's score and rating on a selection device and the actual job performance. You also look at behavior-oriented employment tests, assessment, work sampling, all that. And then you go to step 4, where you look at reference and background checks. And those areas, you look at qualifications, you look at experience, you look at past work records, you also look at whether this person has a criminal record or does not have a criminal record, the credibility of the person, you check it out. So it's always important to do that. And then step 5, you do physical examinations to ensure that the person is physically capable to fulfill job requirements. The issue of health, the issue of disability, the issue about drug testing can also be done at whether this person abuses substance, or there's some traces of substance abuse in this person. So it's always important to do proper and thorough work during the interview process. And then the final decision to hire or reject, it's a last step, step 6. Best selection decisions will involve, for example, extensive consultation among multiple parties. The selection decision should also focus on all aspects of the candidate's capacity to perform the designated job. Now, how would an organization, for example, develop quality workforce? One of them is through socialization. Socialization is the process of influencing the expectations, behavior, attitudes of a new employee in a way considered desirable by the organization. Orientation or induction, setting a number of activities to introduce the recruit or the newly employed to familiarize himself or herself with the workplace, the job, co-workers, and key aspects of the organization. Now, we also look at training, for example, the importance of training. It brings about quality workforce. Training can be done in two major ways: on-the-job training, job rotation, for example, coaching, mentoring, modeling, off-the-job management development. Off-the-job is out of the workplace. On-the-job is within the organization itself, within the system. Performance management systems also ensure that performance standards and objectives are set, the results are assessed regularly, actions are taken to ensure that improvement is taken note of, and then the performance potential is tapped and put to better use. The other aspect which we need to also consider is performance appraisal, formally assessing someone's work, accomplishments, and providing feedback. There are some purposes of performance appraisal. There's what you call evaluation. You look at evaluation, and then there's also development. So the purpose of performance appraisal, when you look at evaluation, for example, you let the person know where they stand relative in relation to the objectives, to the set objectives or the set standards. Development, you assist the person in training and in the continuous personal development of that person. Now, how do organizations develop quality workforce? When we are looking at performance appraisal, there are a number of tools that you can use. One of them would be graphic rating scale, where you use checklists of trends or characteristics to evaluate performance. And the challenge of this one is that it has questionable reliability and validity. Most of the people have done away with this type of performance appraisal, graphic rating scale. The other one is behavioral anchored rating scales. Here what you do is you describe actual behaviors that exemplify various levels of performance achievement in a job. Reliability and validity. It's more varied and more reliable than the graphic rating scales. It helps people to master important job skills here. And then the critical incident techniques. Here you keep a running log or inventory of effective or ineffective behaviors. Here you also document success or failure patterns. The other appraisal system that you could use is the multiple person comparisons, where you look at different people, you rank them or you pair them, and then you can also use what you call forced distributions. There's another appraisal systems that you can use, alternatives to what you could call alternatives to supervisory appraisal. You can make peers, people work together to appraise each other. You can also use upward appraisal, where subordinates could appraise somebody, their supervisor. You can also use 360 degrees feedback system, where superiors, subordinates, peers, and even internal and external customers are involved in the appraisal of a particular employee's performance. This one is modern, and it has been found to be more balanced and to be more receptive. You can also use balanced scorecard to appraise employees. Okay. You can also do what you call career development, where you look at the career. A career, we need to understand what a career is, what is a career path, what is career planning, what is a career plateau. So a career itself is a sequence of jobs that constitute what a person does for a living. That's a career. And a career path is a sequence of jobs held over time during a career. And career planning is matching career goals and individual capabilities with opportunities for their fulfillment. A career plateau is a position from which someone is unlikely to move to a higher level of responsibility. So progressive employees seek ways on how to engage plateaued employees. So how else could an organization maintain quality workforce? Work-life balance. It needs to encourage work-life balance, a balance between personal life, family life, workplace life, a healthy lifestyle. That's what it is. Okay. And another one is ensuring that compensation and benefits, they help employees. There's base compensation, salary or hourly wages, fringe benefits, flexible benefits are put into effect, and employees benefit from that. There are a number of other benefits that you can look at, but the one that is of interest to us is the employee assistance programs, which may help an employee to deal with troublesome personal problems, and the employee is able to focus on the job. For example, if an employee has financial problems or has an illness, and the employer could help that employee in that area. Also having a retention and turnover, looking at retention and turnover in the organization, ensuring that there's a replacement plan into place to deal or to close the gap that may come about through promotion, demotion, transfers, terminations, layoffs, and recruitments. Replacement decisions should relate to shifting people between positions within the organization, retirement, termination. Also, the other way that organizations can maintain quality workforce is ensuring that there is good labor management relations. Unions deal, labor unions deal with employers on workers' behalf. That needs to be appreciated. And then unions, they also look at the labor contracts, and their focus is mostly on collective bargaining, which is the process of negotiating, administering, and interpreting the labor contract. Now, there's this chart here shows the traditional adversary view of labor management relations. In between, we see the unions and managers as adversaries. Each one has a territory or interest to protect. On the left there we see unions, what unions can do to make things difficult to management. For example, they can organize a strike, they can organize boycott, they can organize a picket. Managers, what managers can do to make it difficult for the unions. For example, they can lock out the company, they can close it down. They can also, they can do is to have what you call strike breakers, where they can hire more non-union workers. They can also have court injunctions. They can go to court, get a court order to stop the unions from carrying out their threats or carrying out a strike. So how do organizations maintain quality workforce? Unions and management need to work together. They need to create ways of ensuring that they meet each other halfway, and they're sincere and they trust each other. So in conclusion, what we have realized in this presentation is that human resource management is key to the organization, because human resources is an asset to the organization. It can help the organization to succeed. People should be treated with respect, and certain areas of their concern, areas of ensuring that their skills, their contributions remain relevant, are looked into, their welfare is looked into. And if all those areas are not looked into, there's a possibility of the organization not succeeding. So human resource management remains essential to any organization's long-term performance success. Those organizations that perform better are those organizations that maintain people, manage people well. Therefore, we need to realize that human resource can either lead the organization to success or to failure.